All right, welcome back to the channel. So it looks like Devin Haney is getting frustrated with George Kambosos Jr. and Devin Haney has agreed to everything that George Kambosos Jr. has been offering, but George Kambosos Jr. doesn't want to sign. I'm gonna break it down for y'all. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. Please share that you like and subscribe to the channel to get all your latest boxing news. With that being said, it looks like George Kambosos Jr. has once again changed his tune. He is not wanting to agree or sign the contract that Devin Haney has offered him or anything like that. And it is getting ridiculous at the end of the day. And I feel like that George Kambosos Jr. never wanted this fight from the begin with because he knows that Devin Haney opposed to a real threat. And it makes absolutely no sense because Devin Haney's like, look, if you're going to send Lomachenko a contract, the contract you was going to give him, why not send him the same contract you gave Lomachenko? And George Kambosos Jr. is doing things slowly changing his tune even more that is getting ridiculous, and the fans is calling for this fight and wants to see this fight between George Kambosos Jr. and Devin Haney. And George Kambosos Jr. is backpedaling. We start to see signs where he told Devin Haney, you need to go and pay me a lot of money for all these belts. And he's talking about you're going to have to sell your jewelry. And Lou DiBella says Devin Haney was an email champ. All the stuff, you guys know all the stuff that has been happening. And George Kambosos Jr. at the end of the day, he's a coward of a man. He doesn't want to fight Devin Haney. He's not willing to fight the best of the best. And it's getting ridiculous. I'm ready to see the fight. I'm ready to see George Kambosos Jr. lose in his backyard. A lot of people feel like that George Kambosos Jr. is going to have the advantage because he wants to have his judges in his backyard, but that's not going to be the case. And also, George Kambosos Jr. is not willing to have to fight Devin Haney because he wants to fight a tune-up fight, and it makes absolutely no ridiculous on why he's doing this. Obviously, he wants to have a cherry pick fight before he lose all his belts. And we seen recently where Josh Taylor had versus Jack Cottrell. Everybody thought that Jack Cottrell was going to be a cherry pick, but Jack Cottrell showed us that he was a vicious type of fighter, and he was deadly, and not deadly, he was dangerous, and he could potentially upset Josh Taylor, and that didn't happen. And he was pressing the fight, but he started to slow down, and Josh Taylor won convincingly by bull rushing, but pressuring him more. And it looks like George Kambosos Jr. does not want this fight. Devin Haney agreed to everything with George Kambosos, all the demands and stuff like that, and he still won't sign a contract. He gave him the money he offered. He gave him probably all the ring stuff. He gave him the split. He gave him everything, and it's just getting ridiculous at the end of the day. So this is another backtrack for George Kambosos Jr. starting to really change his tune. He doesn't want to fight Devin Haney, and if he doesn't fight Devin Haney, he is one of the biggest cowards of a man that ducked Undisputed and ducked Legacy to clarify his name in the Hall of Fame if he defeat Devin Haney and stuff like that. But I'm not going to I'm going to keep you guys intact on more of this info, but this is just getting ridiculous why these guys don't want to fight Devin Haney at the end of the day. With that being said, guys, it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.